Welcome to our second segment of our YourTown television program today that we're featuring Standing Rock. Standing Rock has moved from the physical location a lot. The encampment there is diminished, but it's going forward. It's going forward with the message in film and documentaries and in the court system. And for our second segment here, I've got my good friend Lauren Banner, who is an activist and a documentarian and an artist. And she was recently at Standing Rock for their film festival. And I really am glad you're here again because Lauren, we've done this before, but to have women lead us forward in this movement, but in society in general, to break our patriarchy and relook at that, and for guys to learn how to be allies with women. You teach me about that, and so I just want to start with thanking you, but also asking you, what do women look like? What are women about at Standing Rock? And allies, women that are part of the Lakota Sioux and the tribal heritage, and then us and others that are women that are allies. And what does that look like to you from being at the festival?
Well, it was the children actually who started this process by running to Washington, when they've been fighting the pipelines for years, all across America. But there was a group of kids that ran to Washington.
And when you say ran, you literally mean ran.
Ran.
Yeah.
After they ran, there was a woman in Standing Rock who started a camp, Sacred Stone Camp. It was a small camp, but it was the heartbeat of Standing Rock. They gathered there to resist the pipeline. They didn't know if anybody would show up, but they did. Mm-hmm. And I think women have been oppressed for centuries. The indigenous women we need to listen to, particularly because although every single body on the planet, man or woman, has a very clear connection. We are made of the earth. We all have that connection to the planet. Water and earth is what we're made of. The indigenous peoples and the indigenous women have been connected to the lands that they're on for thousands of years. And there's something about that particular relationship that gives us strength and a force that I believe women should listen to the indigenous women because of that long-standing relationship, particularly to the land that they're on.
Right.
As I said before, every woman has this relationship, but particularly now, the indigenous women are rising.
They've been practicing it openly and deeply for centuries, actually.
Yeah.
Well, so along those lines, I know Pearl Means, who runs the Russell Means Foundation, her husband being one of the, I think, original founders of the American Indian movement, AIM.
Yeah.
And she carries forward, and she was very much a part of Standing Rock and the Water Protectors. And I know you visited with her and saw, and were part of the documentary that she was a part of, or out there at this film festival. And so we're going to run a clip from her here in a minute, but before we do, you might want to set that clip up a little bit.
Here she's talking a little bit about the spirituality that's at the foundation of Standing Rock, as well as the relationship to what she saw the youth getting from this movement. So we can show this.
Maybe we should go to the clip. Let's do that. Pearl Means.
And that's the beauty of this movement, is it's steeped, it's based, the foundation is in our spiritual belief system, worldview. It isn't necessarily religion, it's a worldview. That's a big difference. It's our way of life. It's the way we think. It's the way we talk. It's the way we move. And the world is hungry. Young people are hungry for substance, for culture, for hope. And I think that's what we saw here at Standing Rock with the young people that just kept coming, and they didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
because they felt that community, that family, that being a part of something greater than where they came from. And that was just really, really empowering and hopeful. And I feel like we're in a very exciting time.
And the women able to see that and follow, right?
Yeah. There were really two things I left with very powerfully was how when they speak, they view the breath as the spirit. And so their words, they're not casual. You're using spirit to make communication, to communicate. So there was a power and a depth to the speaking that has changed me. I'm adjusting, having left there, having felt that reverence for speech.
Yes.
I blather on all day long.
Right.
And that was striking.
To slow down so that each word comes from your soul. They're
Yes.
good at that, aren't they?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Now there were many other women out there that you've mentioned to me that made an impression on you, and one was Phyllis Young.
Yes.
And Phyllis is, I think, president of the film festival. She's the intertribal liaison for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. So she's a leader in her own right.
Yes, an elder in every way.
Yeah. So talk to me about Phyllis. We've also got a clip from her, but maybe set that up a little bit.
Phyllis is involved with every aspect of the tribe, and from the depths of the spiritual work that they do to the political activism as well. So this clip is particularly talking about Tiger Swan and its activities in relation to our Constitution.
And Tiger Swan, for the viewers, please.
Tiger Swan was a militia group hired by the pipeline, DAPL, to protect it, both,
Quote unquote.
Right, protect the pipeline and protect the reputation of DAPL, both.
Yeah.
So this is her speaking about Tiger Swan.
Well, let's take a look at this clip from Phyllis.
I believe that Tiger Swan are schizophrenic because they are operating in a world setting, a global setting, because they have they represent the military who have privatized government operations. They are part of a corporate structure that is a violation of our treaty, because you cannot delegate the treaty obligation to the private sector. And that is the first violation. The second one is that the U.S. Military Code, Article 3, prohibits the government military to be used against Native people. And so on two levels we need to address this intercept report, because the U.S. government has been used as a training ground to create that private sector and militarize it and to use it against us. We are not representative of a population like the Middle East. And the operations are similar that are happening to the Kurdish people. When former government officials go into the Kurdish territory, and that represents four corners, Turkey, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran, they own the exploratory rights. The United States has no flyover, they had a no flyover zone over Kurdish territory. So it's a replay of what they did here on Indian reservations back in 1952. They had the exploratory rights of every nation within the Indian community, and they literally destroyed the Wind River reservation. Water, not to get a warning about just drinking it, but washing your clothes with it. So that is the evidence. They went through a process of the claims where they had to pay a multi-million-dollar the corporation. So I see it as privatizing everything that exists. And when you have 4 former deputy assistants from the U.S. Army Corps leading DAPL, something is very wrong.
She speaks directly, doesn't she?
She does not mess around.
Yeah.
She is standing strong and will not give up, and is organizing.
Well, and again, I'll draw attention to what you were saying. I was impressed because she speaks clearly and from a deep place. Her words have more power, and it's not as if she's speaking out of anger, although there's anger there. She's turned it into some sort of really strong spiritual journey for justice, it seems to me, for her people and herself.
Well, that's the thing. The spirituality is not disjunct from everything they do.
Yes.
Eating, politics, every aspect is undergirded by the spirituality, so you feel it in what they do.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this forward. Now, I know we have another clip that Pearl is featured on again, and maybe talk to me about that one.
This is a little bit about what actions moving forward. Standing Rock is ongoing, as you said. It didn't end with Standing Rock, and in fact, in some ways, it's the seed of what's to come. And the part of that has to do with a couple of actions. One having to do with the doctrine of discovery, which goes back to European times and the Pope, and so they're directly speaking to the Pope, and the divestment, which is the financial undergirdings of all the pipeline work. So she's speaking to those two.
That's
aspects.
wonderful. Well, this is beginning to one is how to live artfully and well, to speak for justice. The other is what do we actually do with our minds, our feet, and our action as we inspire each other. So let's go to this clip again. Back to Pearl Means, a clip from her, and what activism looks like.
We have the right, and we need to exercise that right to tell our own stories through our lens. And that's what we're doing. And I want to thank Standing Rock for hosting this historical event, and I believe it's just the beginning, and we're talking about taking it around the world. These are beautiful, powerful stories, and they're historic. It's now our contemporary history, and we have the world's attention. And what I would love to see included in this as we continue this campaign is to put pressure on our European allies to help us appeal to the Vatican and get a recension of that damning, racist, unconscionable document that is the foundation to all of our laws and our policies, the doctrine of discovery. Because and I think as women, again, we want to heal. We want to reconcile with the entire human family and all of our relatives. And in order to do that, we've got to bring these horrors to the table. And only then can we collectively let go, because we need to heal. We're carrying historical grief, but our counterparts are also carrying their grief from their ancestors. So this would be a very powerful beginning, is to get that doctrine of discovery rescinded so we can all move forward with a good heart. That coupled with to continue divesting.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had major cities throughout the United States do that, and we've had many European cities. And so we want to promote that and get more countries to stand with us and divest, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing they recognize. When it hits their pocketbooks,
Yeah,
they pay attention.
that's right.
So that's what I would like to move forward with.
Thank you.
So we have a long history of partnerships on film and the movie industry,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother had a lot to do with that. He was a movie star. Russell Means was up there.
Yes, hit in the pocketbook, and this is real, and there is a growing divestment movement.
Mm-hmm.
And when she talks about the struggle, she's talking about the overall struggle, but she's specifically talking about moving forward with the films that were at the film festival, right?
Yes, and taking the film festival around the world, not Standing Rock particularly, but the film festival, to show these films that were shown at Standing Rock just recently.
Fabulous. Now we're running out of time,
Oh, yes.
but I know you had a final clip for us, and it's about inspiration, really, and the right kind of inspiration. And I think any good revolution must have song at its center, and that's what this is, by Pura Fé,
Yes.
who is part of the Standing Rock movement.
Yes.
And let's just go to that clip, and we'll fade out after that on the show. And if there's something you want to say about it
just
real
briefly,
quickly.
she was asked to do a song. This was unprepared. She was giving a talk. She was being interviewed, and then she was asked, could you sing? And she sort of, as an artist, wasn't quite, but then she came out with this.
And
so
this
you'll
is
see.
and this is what happened. And I will say to all of our viewers, goodbye now. This song will take us out. Here we go. Pura Fé.
We couldn't stay. We have 3 little tiny ones that we're watching. Can't cross the border from Canada. That's where we live. So we got our chance to be here, but just watching everything was just, we in tears. It was just, I don't know, I have no words. All I can say is that this is what I had wanted to sing. I thought one day I'll get to go to those water protectors and I'm going to sing to them like this. I was going to sing. It's not a drum song, though. It's really corny, but this is what I wanted to tell them. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything we hope for, and everything we need. You are so beautiful to me. That's all. I can't sing, I'm too nervous.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.